Hey, could you wish David Feldman a happy birthday? He's a fellow New Jersey guy. He's a fan of yours.
David Feldman, happy birthday. Congratulations.
Oh! You okay?
Are what we're seeing every day, from the crowds that we're getting that are coming out to my events, to the support from people in New Hampshire donating to my campaign, to again leading this campaign in local elected officials who have heft and influence in their communities, are looked to as beacons of what's best. And so we have, if you look at what it's taken to go onto the White House from the Democratic Party, if you look at from Carter to Obama, we are where they were at this time. Carter came into your state way behind in the polls in a crowded field. That's back when 10 people was a crowd. And his message was a unifying message, was talking about decency and kindness and restoring honor to our politics. He won. Bill Clinton came here and made his name for himself as the comeback kid. He was the underdog. Some guy named, he married up. He married this incredible woman named Michelle. He was 21 points behind Hillary Clinton about at this time. So the polls have never, in our lifetime, ever predicted who would go on and be president. In fact, the only people from our party who've gone on to be president were people way behind in the polls. But if you start looking at what they had in common, these were dynamic, energizing, unifying candidates. I have what that right stuff that I believe will win here in the Granite State.
If you talk to voters who are still making up their minds and they're undecided, what are they saying? Like what's keeping them from committing at this
Well,
point?
that's the exciting thing that I think is an important metric for the table, is that we're finding that the overwhelming majority of folks have not made up their mind yet. And in New Hampshire, what I'm told over and over again is this state decides late. And they often like to go against what the polls are saying. So again, every indice to me shows me that this state is ripe for the win. And what I know when I talk to folks is Granite Staters are such discerning voters. They really want to know you. And when I say know you, they want to shake your hand. They want to feel your heart. They want to listen to you. And then when they're done, I've been told, wow, you're at the top of my list, but I haven't heard all the candidates yet, and I want to go listen to others. Some of my endorsers here made that same point to me, that I'm not going to endorse you till I meet the other folks. And so I'm patient. You're not seeing me try to change my campaign 4 or 5 times, retune my message, make decisions about new decisions about where I'm putting my resources. We have done the same thing consistently from the start. We said we are going to play to win in New Hampshire. I've been here. I've met with thousands of people. I've been to all 10 counties. I've slept in people's homes. I have shaved my head in people's bathrooms. And have found connections here that are deeper and beyond even what I anticipated. I have really fallen in love with this state, and I'm excited to make my case over the next 2 to 3 months, and I believe we will win.
Some of those people who you've slept in their homes are right behind you, I can see.
Yeah.
John's question, and just do a follow-up.
Yes. John was like CORY.
That John, yes. John.
When he was saying, you know, it's past the bedtime, and I go, oh, your kids need to go to bed. He goes, no, you need to go to bed.
On Super PAC, are you specifically taking steps to dissuade them from going forward? And secondly, on Deval Patrick, this has got to sting a little bit. This is somebody you know, somebody you respect well, and him getting in is almost saying that you and the other candidates don't have what it takes. So I'd like to, and is he a little too moderate, maybe a little too conservative to run in Democratic primary?
Listen, for the metric that you just said, you know some of my closest friends in all of politics have either run or are still running. Kirsten Gillibrand and I eaten more meals at her house than I have in my own place in Washington, D.C., simply because I'm not a great cook. Kamala Harris is not a friend. She's like a sister to me. I convinced her to run for the Senate, and even said in that conversation, I was one of the people that tried to convince her to run for Senate, and even said in that conversation that you come here to the Senate, you're going to be a national figure with a lot of options. And so by your metric, I do not take it as a personal insult that my friends believe that they are the best person to be president. It is such a good thing that we have a robust competition at a time that we need to make sure that whoever emerges from this is the best person to beat Donald Trump and lead us out of the ditch that he's dug for us and put us in. So this is something to be celebrated. And I'm not focusing on those other candidates. The decisions that voters are not going to make is not by how well I take shots at other Democrats. In fact, I think that in this race, that should be a flaw that people should point out and should make them choose the person that doesn't take pot shots at other candidates. Because whoever wins this race better be the person that can unite the Democratic Party. Because I saw this 4 years ago. I saw the cost of a party not united. And I'm running not to tear down Democrats, I'm running to lift them up. Let me say something controversial. And please don't think that I'm saying this just because I know Republicans can vote in the Democratic primary here. But I'm not running for the short-term goal of beating Republicans. Yeah, I want to beat the one that's in the White House. But I'm running for the larger call of our country, which is to unite Americans. This is a moment where I'm telling you, the Russians, I've read their intelligence reports about their strategies. One of their main strategies is try to make us hate each other more, because they know the more that we hate each other, the less we get done. I'm running to bring this country together so that we can do the things that we believe in, like common sense gun safety. Yet another school shooting, and 90% of Americans believe in common sense background checks. Over 80% of Americans believe in gun licensing. These are things that I can show you the data would drive down shootings dramatically, but we're not getting them done in our politics because our politics right now is based on this painful idea, so contrary to our history, called divide and conquer. No, Americans have never won that way. We win, we beat the Nazis, we beat the Russians to the moon when we unite this country and bring everybody together. That's why I'm running, that's how I'm going to beat Donald Trump, and that's how I'm going to win.
Amen. Senator, out at the desk, you were praising kind of the openness of New Hampshire's democratic process as it relates to the primary, but you've also been critical of some recent voting law changes here in the state. And I wonder if you could just kind of elaborate on how you square, the openness of the primary process with what you see as hurdles to voters being able to register and participate in the democratic process here.
So some of you have been to my stump speeches, and you know it was a protest for voting rights. It was on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in 1965, where it ended up being a day called Bloody Sunday because the Alabama State Troopers so viciously beat these people marching for voting rights that inspired a man in New Jersey to then go and get involved in civil rights law in that state, who would go on to represent my family and help me move into New Jersey. I am here because of the long history of folks who stood up for robust access to the polls. And it hurts my mom, who turns 80 this year. It hurts her to have been someone who did marches and sit-ins, who helped to fight to gain these rights, to now live in an America where from this state to Texas, that you see states now moving to roll back the rights of citizens to vote. And that's unacceptable to me. My ancestors would turn over in their graves if I didn't make this a central point in this campaign. And this debate next week in Georgia, where you literally had a guy running for governor who was also the Secretary of State, who then purged people from the rolls and is continuing to do so. This is such a violation of our values. No party should believe they need to cheat to win. We should be expanding access to the polls. Voting day in this country should be a national holiday. We should have automatic voter registration. We should make our democracy more democratic. So yeah, I'm going to criticize any state that takes these actions. And if I'm president, my Justice Department will come after states that are violating voting rights. And I'm going to say that to this governor here.
But what is the law in New Jersey? Do you have to be a resident to vote?
Again, our law in New Jersey continues to improve over a governor that takes voting rights very seriously. So Phil Murphy, who's been up here to campaign for me, is pushing to expand and improve upon our voting laws. What you see from New Jersey to California, governors standing up to say we should be doing more to make access available and robust. Here, you're going the opposite direction, because you have a governor that believes that it is better to restrict access to the polls than to make it more robust. My first ballot I ever cast in the 1988 primary for Jesse Jackson, at Stanford University. I'm a Jersey boy, but I registered to vote in the place I was spending most of my time, and I voted in that primary. To cast a shadow over my first vote and say somehow it was illegitimate is wrong.
Sorry, just to clarify, because you raised the prospect of using the U.S. Justice Department to go after states that pass these ballot restrictions. As you see it now, would the restrictions that were put in place in New Hampshire warrant that kind of federal action?
I think the restrictions, that anybody who's putting restrictions on the right to vote should have at the very least the Justice Department taking a look at those actions to see if they have discriminatory impact or violate any federal laws.
Last question.
I have been excited to compete in this election. I'm not in the business, as I learned in grade school basketball, of arguing and fighting with the refs. I'm on the court. I'm playing my game, and I'm excited about it. And people have been responding to it. There have been very tough moments in this campaign where I had to turn to the American people and be painfully transparent about the state of our campaign. And the most encouraging thing I've ever seen is how people have been responding to my campaign and being there for me when we need them in the clutch. And so this next 80, 90 days leading in to the First in the Nation primary, I'm going to be leaning on the American people to continue. If you want me in this race, if you want my voice on a debate stage that frankly has needed it, I believe that we cannot have a primary where Democrats are distinguishing yourself on primary, on your policy differences is important, but tearing down people and the character of people is just unacceptable. I'm going to continue to stand on the debate stage and advocate for my positions, my ideas, my spirit, and I'm going to continue to call it like it is, that we have one shot to make Donald Trump a one-term president, and tearing each other down is not going to be accomplishing that. So I'm going to make it plain. Every primary debate, we've had to reach to make sure that we're on that stage. And every primary debate, Americans have responded and helped us make the polling thresholds and helped us make the donor thresholds. Yet again, as I look towards December and January, I'm asking for America's support. Please go to CORYBOOKER.com. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good luck. Thanks so much. Thank you.
All right, I see you on the Parkway.
All right,
Will we
definitely.
be able to ask you questions at the coffee?
I'm not
At the
sure.
coffee? Okay.
I'm not sure. You can ask my team.
Thank you. Good luck to you, sir.
Good tag team.
Yeah, whatever you guys say. Whatever you want.
I got it. Thank you. And then Steven's gonna get one too. Sorry, I didn't mean to grab you. Nice to meet you. You're awesome. Sorry for saying this. No, it's good. That's nearly as good as my boss, so I don't know. Do you want to slide it out? Okay, ready? Ready, work? All right. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait. All right. Thank you.
Mama County for the love that you did. Just think it.
I just wanted to talk.
All right, now we are going. Sorry, let's go this way. You can take this up, too.
There you go. Here I go. Now to your right. All right. Thank you very much. We can do any photos you want inside.
good.
Okay? I'm gonna figure out a way, I'll talk to Brian, we're gonna figure out a way to how to get New Hampshire we just have to figure out a way.
Yes, we've got about 3 months to do it.
Yes, we do.
We're working
All
hard.
right, so I'm gonna pray more.
Okay. Yes, that means the most to me. Thank you.
Mr. Booker, I have regards for my cousin, Rabbi Don Rossoff of Morristown. Oh. He said his best friend. I was with them over the week, and they said they met you earlier, and they're very impressed in a number of situations. So they send their best and all their support. Thank you for that. Great. Thank you.
Hey, could you wish David Feldman a happy birthday? He's a fellow New Jersey guy. He's a fan of yours.
David Feldman, happy birthday.
you.
Congratulations.
Oh!